the soul whispers.
Some people wake up tired before the day even begins. Not because they did not sleep, not because they are weak, but because their mind has already been running for hours. Before the first coffee, before the first conversation, before the first responsibility, there are thoughts, ideas, memories, worries, possibilities, 100 invisible conversations happening at the same time. And from the outside, it can look like laziness. It can look like carelessness. It can look like someone who does not try hard enough. But inside, something completely different is happening. Because some people are not fighting a lack of effort. They are fighting a mind that refuses to slow down. A mind that sees 10 roads when everyone else sees one. A mind that starts 5 things because every idea feels important. A mind that can spend 3 hours completely absorbed in something meaningful, and then struggle for 20 minutes to begin something simple. This is the invisible battle of ADHD. A battle many people have carried silently for years. For a long time, society has measured intelligence by one thing. How well can you focus? How well can you sit still? How well can you follow the expected path? But what happens when your mind was never designed to move in a straight line? What happens when your brain does not travel like a train on one track, but like a river creating new paths as it moves? Maybe the biggest misunderstanding about ADHD is this. People think it means someone cannot pay attention. The person with ADHD may not lack thoughts. They may have too many. They may not lack creativity. They may struggle to organize it. They may not lack ambition. They may struggle to consistently direct it. And that difference changes everything, because a person can be intelligent and still lose their keys every morning. A person can be creative and still feel trapped by simple routines. A person can be successful and still secretly wonder why everything feels harder than it seems for everyone else. This is not a story about broken people. It is a story about misunderstood minds. Some people describe ADHD only as a problem with attention. But for many people who live with it, that is only one piece of the story, because ADHD can feel like living inside a mind that does not move in straight lines. It jumps, it connects, it searches, it notices things other people miss. It creates connections between ideas that seem unrelated. But the same sensitivity that creates creativity can also create exhaustion. The same brain that can become deeply fascinated by something can struggle with something that feels meaningless. And this creates one of the most painful experiences: shame. The feeling that everyone else received a manual for life, and somehow you missed the page where they explained how everything works. You hear things like, "You are careless. You need more discipline. You are wasting your potential. You are too much. You are not trying hard enough." And slowly, those voices become internal. The person starts believing, maybe I am lazy. Maybe I am unreliable. Maybe something is wrong with me. But maybe the question should not be, why can't this person function like everyone else? Maybe the better question is, what kind of environment allows this mind to function at its best? A different way of processing the world. A different way of moving through life. And maybe the first step is not forcing the mind to become something else. Maybe the first step is understanding the mind that is already there Because before we can build a better life, we need to stop fighting the person living inside it. ADHD does not look the same in everyone. It has many different people, different stories, different battles. There is the person whose mind is always somewhere else. They are sitting in a meeting, but they are thinking about an idea from yesterday. They are reading a page, but their mind has already created an entire story from one sentence. People may think they are not listening, but inside their mind, there is an entire universe happening. They do not lack thoughts. The challenge is not creating ideas. The challenge is giving those ideas somewhere to land. Then there is the person who seems impossible to understand, the person who struggles for days to begin something and then suddenly finishes it in one intense burst. A project ignored for 3 weeks, completed overnight, a task avoided for hours, finished at midnight. People ask, why couldn't you just do it earlier? But they do not see the invisible battle that happened before the action began. Because ADHD does not always mean no focus. Sometimes it means focus that refuses to obey. When something creates enough interest, urgency, challenge, or meaning, the brain can lock in completely, and the world disappears. There is the person whose environment looks chaotic. The desk, the room, the unfinished projects, the endless notes. From the outside, it looks like disorder. But inside the chaos, there's often a strange map. They know where things are. They remember the system they created until someone moves one thing, and suddenly the entire map disappears. The outside world sees mess, but sometimes the mess is simply a reflection of a mind trying to manage too many moving pieces. The Emotional Reactor ADHD is not only about attention. It can also affect emotions. Some people do not experience feelings quietly. They experience them like weather. A small criticism can feel enormous. A small disappointment can stay in the mind for hours. A moment that someone else forgets quickly can become something the brain keeps replaying, not because the person chooses to overreact, but because their emotional world may arrive with a stronger volume. The person everyone thinks is doing fine, they have a career, they have responsibilities, they smile, they show up, they achieve, but nobody sees the amount of energy required to keep everything together. Nobody sees the forgotten tasks, the last-minute panic, the constant effort to appear organized. The world sees the performance, it rarely sees the price. And finally, there is the person searching for stimulation, not because they are shallow, not because they do not care, but because a bored mind can feel incredibly uncomfortable. The brain looks for something new, something interesting, something rewarding, a new video, a new idea, a new project, a new distraction. The modern world understands this perfectly because attention has become one of the most valuable resources on Earth. It did not begin with social media. It did not begin with notifications. People with ADHD existed long before the digital world, but something has changed. The environment around us has become a machine built around interruption. Every day begins with a battle, a phone beside the bed, messages waiting, notifications calling, news, updates, infinite scrolling, thousands of pieces of information competing for a few seconds of our attention. The modern world has learned something powerful. Attention can be captured. Attention can be measured. Attention can be sold. For someone already struggling with directing attention, living inside this environment can feel like trying to concentrate while standing in the middle of a storm. Imagine trying to hold a candle in a room full of wind. The problem is not that the flame is weak. The environment is constantly trying to put it out. The ADHD mind is is not weak, but it is often living inside a world designed around distraction. We have created a culture where being busy is considered normal, where multitasking is celebrated, where boredom feels like something to escape immediately. But the brain was never designed to constantly switch between hundreds of inputs. Every interruption has a cost. Every open tab takes space. Every unfinished thought stays somewhere in the background, and slowly, the mind becomes tired. Understanding your mind is important, but eventually the question becomes, how do I actually live with this mind? When responsibilities are waiting, when motivation is low, and distractions are everywhere, the answer is not creating a perfect life. It is creating a supportive one. A life with fewer unnecessary battles. A life with systems that help you when your attention disappears. Because the goal is not to depend on endless willpower. The goal is to build an environment that works with your brain. Small anchors. The ADHD mind does not need a perfect beginning. It needs a clear one. A small anchor that tells the brain, the day has started. Because an overwhelmed mind does not need more possibilities. It needs direction. Many people try to organize their lives with complicated systems. More apps, more reminders, more lists. Because when everything feels important, nothing feels clear. People often say, just be more disciplined. But discipline becomes harder when distractions are always within reach. A world designed to interrupt. Protect your attention. And eventually, everyone with ADHD learns the same lesson. You will drift, you will lose focus, you will have difficult days. The goal is not to never fall away. The goal is learning how to return. Stop, breathe. What helps me come back? Maybe the biggest misunderstanding about ADHD is believing the goal is to become someone else. Perfectly organized, always focused, always calm. Always productive, but nobody lives like that. You do not need to become someone else. You need to build a life your mind can come home to. And maybe that is where the journey begins, not with fixing yourself, but with finally understanding yourself. For those still listening, this is only the beginning. Subscribe.